I've had a few students reach out to me regarding how to find the additional points on the parabola, so I wanted to give you a couple of tips and tricks on that. First off, let's work through this example. We know that this is going to be a left or right opening parabola because the y is the term that is squared. And because this value is negative, we know the parabola is going to open to the left. One of the first things we can do is find the vertex, and that vertex comes from the x and y values being h and k. This is going to become 6, -7 will be our vertex. And we also know that 4p is equal to -3, resulting in p being -3/4. Now, I've already created a graph over here that we're going to utilize to use this information. So if you look over here, I have already plotted the point 6, -7, which gives us the vertex. And then the p value tells us how far out to go for the focus. We're going to go out p, which is 3/4, and we're going to go back 3/4 for the directrix. Notice in both of these cases, the y value is not changing. What this tells us is in this case, our y value, which we calculated over here to be -7, is going to be -7 if we were to plot that point. And if you remember, our directrix will just be a line. But here, our y value is also going to be -7. In order to figure out the actual points for the focus, we need to take the x value, and we're either going to add or subtract 3. So in this case, for our focus, we're going to move to the left, which means we're going to subtract 3/4, and 6 minus 3/4 will give us our x value, and our y value will remain the -7. When we subtract this gives us 5.25, or we can write this as a fraction of 21/4 -7 for the focus. The directrix, we are going to add 6 plus 3/4, and that y value stays the same for that individual point we're looking at. And so this becomes 6.75, or 27/4 is our directrix equation. The other question that we need to be able to answer, though, again, this is 21/4 and 27/4. The other question we want to be able to answer, though, is what are two other points on the parabola? If you notice, I can come up to here and I have a point, and I can come down to here and I have another point. So then I would have the vertex for a point and these two other points that I've labeled. Now, the harder part is determining the value of these points. I want to show you something geometrically. If I move down to this position, you're going to notice I've traveled the same distance as between the focus and the vertex, which is p, and the same distance down to here is p. So this distance is 2p. By definition on a parabola, the distance from any point to the directrix and the focus is 2p. So this distance is 2p. This also means this distance is 2p. So we can take our focus, 21/4, -7, and then we can find this point above it and this point below it. Notice here that x value is not going to change. We're going to have 21/4 and 21/4, but our y value will change in the sense that we are going to both add and subtract 2p. P, if you'll remember, was 3/4. So 2p we can calculate as 3/2. So with a p value, or a 2p value of 3/2, I can take -7 and I can move up a value of 2p, which takes me to -5.5, or -11/2. And then I can also go down 2p, which takes me to -8.5, or -17/2. So hopefully that gives you a quick trick to take the focus, move up 2p and down 2p, and then your points can be those 2 points that we just calculated, and then also the vertex is directly on the parabola.